The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew. At that time Jesus said to his disciples, when you fast, don't go around looking dismal like hypocrites. They disfigure themselves that others may see they are fasting. I assure you, they have received their reward. As for you, when you fast, groom your hair, wash your face. In that way no one can see you are fasting, but your Father who is invisible. And your Father who sees what is invisible will repay you. Don't keep storing up earthly treasures. Moths or rust can make them vanish. Thieves can break in and steal them. But make it your practice to store up heavenly treasure, which neither moths nor rust can make vanish, and which thieves cannot break in to steal. Remember, where your treasure lies, there also lies your heart's desire. Please be seated. Just briefly, just a reminder, ashes will be distributed after Mass. The meaning of the ashes is we're entering combat. People have been in and out all day, and we say, what's the ashes? Well, the ashes is a sign of penance. But one of the meanings of the ashes is yesterday's prayer for pre-Lent, and then this morning's prayer is about entering into Christian combat with the powers set against us. The world, the flesh, and Satan. And the combat we enter in is to make ourselves victory. Make ourselves clothed in the victory of Christ. The other question that Lent poses to us was in yesterday's Gospel, and the Lord's question is, what do you want me to do for you? So if you have to answer that question, Lord said to you, what do you want me to do for you this Lent? What is it in your life that you are struggling with in terms of being a good Catholic? That's a personal question. And it's important that we answer that question. Because every one of us has struggles of one sort or another. But sometimes we don't speak to the Lord about those struggles. Sometimes we think, can I talk to Him that way? And the answer is yes. That's one of the other reasons for Lent, is to come closer to the Lord as part of His family, as someone He loves, He has made you and me family to Him. And that's an important question. We have it clear, or try to have it clear in our minds, that we can answer the Lord, this Lent, Lord, I seek this. As I'm fasting, as I'm engaging in more prayer, and as I'm doing the works of mercy. In order to do the works of mercy properly, we need the Lord. The world has it backwards. The world thinks you can be merciful without God. That is a pathetic mercy, because it will never touch the depths of the human being. It's only when we receive the gift of mercy ourselves from God and His love, when we experience this, that we can touch another human being, because we're passing on the gift. So let us pray for each other that we all make a good Lent. So the Ashes will have this meaning for us, that we're going to try to answer the Lord's question, what do you want me to do for you? And then we're going to be serious about the discipline of Lent. Now what we're urging here at the parish is that we keep the traditional fast. The traditional fast is that every weekday of Lent is a fast day. And that discipline of the body is then to strengthen us spiritually, to lift up our minds to higher things, and to help us become less prisoners to the things around us. We're going to be more engaged in prayer, not just the basic prayer that we should be doing every day, going into more intimate prayer, more special prayer with the Lord, especially about his suffering and death. And the third thing is, then we say to the Lord, with the strength you give me, I can love my neighbor better. So there are many ways to love neighbor. People take care of, people have needs, food and so forth. But there are also spiritual needs. The spiritual love doesn't get a lot of talk. People often talk about feeding the hungry, take care of the homeless, and it's all legit. That's all legitimate stuff. But you never hear about the spiritual love of neighbor, and that's sometimes more difficult. Like this one, forgiving all injuries. How many times do we hold in our hearts, we hold grudges in our hearts, we can't give them up. Forgive all injuries. Bear wrongs patiently. Pray for the living and the dead. Correct the sinner. That's probably the most difficult. That's probably the most difficult thing to do. When you have a loved one or a neighbor or someone that's engaging in conduct that's destructive, it's against God's laws, how do I address that person? So these are all the things that come to Lent. So let us pray that we seriously engage in this combat. Now, this always comes up. Father, if I mess up, is it a sin? In other words, if I forget to fast, or I give in to weakness, or, I don't follow my resolution. No, it's not a sin, but you don't give up, you go back to it. It's like when you're working out with weights or something, sometimes you go off your schedule, you're trying to lose weight, or whatever you're trying to do. You don't say, okay, I'm giving up. No, you say you go back to it. So the same thing with the spiritual life. We go back to it with God's help. So let us pray for one another tonight. We all do this. We purify ourselves.